So hello everyone. So in today's video we will be discussing 50 MCQs from previous year question. So these are some of the most repeatedly question asked in any of your paper. So we won't be just discussing the questions and answer, but we will be discussing the work, about the author, about the publication and everything in very detail. So without wasting our time, let's get started. So the question number 1 says, shall I compare day to a summer's day, right? So this is a famous line taken from which work? So is it a work written by John Donne? Is it by William Shakespeare? Or is it by Browning or John Milton? So see, this is a very famous line taken from one of the Shakespeare's most famous sonnet. So this is, first of all, this is a work written by William Shakespeare, and then in the sonnet number 18 he has spoken about this line, so that you have to remember. And you also have to remember Shakespeare has written total 154 sonnet, and then he has written 37 tragedies, and then his works were published under two folios, which is the first folio and then the second folio, right? Okay, let's see the next question. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. So this is a famous line from which work? Is it from Daffodils? Is it from Kubla Khan? Is it from the rhyme of Ancient Mariner? Or is it by Ozymandias? So this is a famous line that occurs in the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, right? So what do you have to remember about Ancient Mariner? So it is written in ballad form. It has total 7 sections. It was published in 1789 under lyrical ballad, and this was the first poem of lyrical ballad, right? Okay, next. April is a cruelest month of all, right? So see, literature में क्या होता है कि अप्रैल को ग्लोरीफाई करता है, बट इन दिस वर्क द पोइट ही सेइंग दैट अप्रैल जो सबसे खराब वाला वो मंथ है, राइट? सो डज इट अपीयर्स इन प्रूफ रॉक, the wasteland, the Dover beach, or the hollow man? So this is a famous opening line of the poem the wasteland, right? So what do you know, what do you have to know about the wasteland? So it was published in 1922. It is divided into 5 sections. It is it is one of the most famous modern poem, where the poet talks about disillusionment, he talks about fragmentation, and then he talks about disillusionment of the society, right? So that you have to keep in your mind, and this is one of the most important work, right? And this work was dedicated to his most good friend, I would say, which was Ezra Pound, right? So this is a work by T.S. Eliot. Okay, next. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood is the opening line of. Is it from the road not taken? Is it from the waste song of myself? Is it from the ravine? Is it from the stopping by woods? So see, the ravine is a work written by Edgar Allan Poe. Song of myself is by Walt Whitman. Stopping by woods is by Robert Frost. And then the road not taken is also a work by Robert Frost. And this famous line occurs in the road not taken, right? So yes, Frost. Okay. Next question. Tiger, tiger burning bright is from. So this is a line, and you have to tell this is the opening line of which work, right? So is it is it Otto Nightingale? Is it the tiger? Is it the daffodils? Or is it the Ozymandias, right? So of course you can identify from the title itself. It is taken from the poem The Tiger, and it is written by William Blake, right? Okay, next question. Okay, next question says all the worlds is a stage, right? So आपको बताना है कि ये जो कौन सा वर्क से लिया गया. So is it Macbeth? Is it As You Like It? Is it Hamlet? Or is it Othello, right? So all the worlds is a stage जो क्या है? It was actually a quoted by the character called Jax, and he is a famous character from the work As You Like It, right? So As You Like It जो क्या है, is the pastoral comedy, right? And it was published in the first folio, which was in 1623. So what are the facts that you have to remember from this question? All the worlds is a stage is a famous line from the work As You Like It. It is a pastoral comedy. It was published in the first folio of William Shakespeare's in the year 1623. And then this is a famous line quoted by the character Jax, right? Jax. Okay, next says, I wondered lonely as a cloud is from. Is it from Tintern Abbey? Is it from Daffodils? Is it from the Grecian urn, or is it from the autumn, right? So this is a famous line from the work Daffodils, right? So what you have to remember about Daffodils, it's a lyric poem. It's a lyric poem, and then it was written by William Wordsworth, dedicated to Dorothy Wordsworth, right? So you have to remember Dorothy was a younger sister of William Wordsworth, and then he has dedicated this work to her sister, who is Dorothy Wordsworth, right? And it's a lyric poem, you have to remember that. Okay, next work, Because I Could Not Stop for That, is written by. So it's a poem written by a very famous confessional writer. She's a very famous confessional writer. Now I think you are able to identify her. Is it Emily Dickinson? Is it Robert Frost? Is it Walt Whitman? Or is it T.S. Eliot? So of course we have only one lady writer here, who is Emily Dickinson, right? And what are the things that you have to remember about Emily Dickinson? So she is also called Nun of Amherst. Nun of Amherst. Why? Because she was always dressed up in a white attire, no? Which is why she was called Nun of Amherst. And then she was a confessional poet. हर राइटर का एक अलग अलग ग्रुप होता है, राइट? सो शी फॉल्स अंडर द कैटेगरी ऑफ कन्फेशनल राइटर. एंड देन एमिली डिकिंसन से एक इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्ट है दैट कमला दास इज़ अ कन्फेशनल पोइट, बट शी इज़ not compared with Emily Dickinson, but she is compared with Sylvia Plath, right? You have to remember that. And Emily Dickinson has written so many personal works, which is semi-autobiographical in nature, and then she was extremely personal with her writings. That you have to remember. Next question. Oh Captain, My Captain is written by. Is it written by Walter Whitman? Is it written by Sylvia Plath? Is it written by T.S. Eliot? Or is it by Robert Frost? So Oh Captain, My Captain is a very famous poem written by Walt Whitman, right? And it's written in free verse. And what do you have to remember about Walt Whitman? He is a father of free verse. And he is an American novelist. He is an American writer, okay? वो अमेरिकन है, क्योंकि कभी कभी एग्जाम में पूछ लेते हैं कि दिस person is from which is he British, or is it American, or is it Irish, right? So you have to remember he is an American writer, okay? Next. Okay, so next question says, Rage, Rage Against the Dying of the Light was written by. So it's a famous line taken from a very famous work. So is it Dylan Thomas? Is it Sylvia Plath? Is it T.S. Eliot? Or is it W.H. Auden? So it is written by Dylan Thomas, right? So Dylan Thomas का बहुत ही important work है. And then the name of the poem is, let me write down here, Do Not Go Gentle into the Good Night. So it was published in 1951. You have to remember. So Dylan Thomas is a what? He is a modern writer, and he has written a famous work called Do Not Go Gentle into the Good Night, and it was published in 1951. And then this line has been taken from this very poem. So you have to remember that in your mind, okay? Next question. ओके, टू बी और नॉट टू बी, दैट इज़ द क्वेश्चन. सो ऐसा कोई लिटरेचर स्टूडेंट नहीं होगा जो ये सीन को याद नहीं रहेगा, बिकॉज दिस इज़ अ फेमस लाइन फ्रॉम द प्ले हैमलेट, राइट? हैमलेट से लिया गया है. कौन सा सीन में ऑकर होता है? एक्ट 3 सीन 1 में, राइट? एंड दिस इज़ अ quoted by Hamlet, Prince Hamlet. And why does he says to be or not to be, that is the question. ये तब कोट करता है जब when he was about to kill his uncle Claudius, but he was unable to do it because he was into a dilemma, right? So for that purpose he often keeps on saying to be or not to be, that is the question. करूँ या ना करूँ, वो सबसे बड़ा सवाल है, right? To be translated in हिंदी वही होता है ये. सो आपको याद रखना है, दिस वॉज कोटेड बाय प्रिंस हैमलेट इन द सीन 1 एक्ट 3. एंड देन ये किसके लिए कोट करते हैं? व्हेन ही वाज अबाउट टू किल हिज अंकल क्लोडियस, राइट? And about Shakespeare, what do you have to remember? He has written 4 great tragedies, right? So आपको इसको कैसे याद करना है? Hokum, right? So Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth. So these are the 4 tragedies, great tragedies contributed by William Shakespeare, right? Next question. Beauty is truth, truth beauty. This is a opening line of which poem, right? So is it ode to Grecian urn? Is it ode to Nightingale? Is it Tinton Abbey, or is it Ulysses? Ulysses, right? So this is a famous line from ode on a Grecian urn, right? So यहाँ पे ये जो है Grecian urn को glorify करता है. He is glorifying the beauty of Grecian urn, which is a Greek vase, right? ये question में भी पूछते हैं कि Grecian urn जो क्या है? So it's a Greek vase, okay? You have to remember that. And then Keats का बारे में what do we have to remember? Keats has written Ode to Nightingale, he has written Ode to Grecian urn. He has contributed 6 great odes, and he died at the age of 25 because of tuberculosis. And then he is also called Hellenistic poet. Hellenistic poet. Hellenistic poet का क्या मतलब होता है? जो ग्रीक का कल्चर ब्यूटी को ग्लोरीफाई करता है ना, उसको बोलते हैं. लेट मी चेंज द पेन. Yes, so he died at the age of 25. He died because of tuberculosis. He is also called Hellenistic poet, and then he was a second generation romantic poet. You have to keep in your mind. Yes, some important facts which you definitely can't miss. Okay, next question says, so it goes is a famous line from. So see, this is something which I would say it's extremely important. Why? Because ये जो quote है, this is taken from, okay, let us see the option first. The Old Man and the Sea, The Slaughterhouse, The Scarlet Letter, and The Great Gatsby, right? So okay, The Old Man and the Sea is a work written by Herman Melville. Slaughterhouse, we will discuss about it. The Scarlet Letter is written by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The Great Gatsby is written by F. Scotland. And then the Slaughterhouse is written by none other than Kurt Vonnegut. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but so this is an important quote taken from the work Slaughterhouse 5. ये जो किसका work है? It is written by Kurt Vonnegut, right? And then what does the work talks about? So this is a murder mystery novel, you know. And then in this work there is a multiple murder that take place, and then you know जब भी एक मर्डर होता है तब ये कोट को कोट करता है. सो इट गोज़, राइट. सो एक मर्डर में ये वर्ड को वो कोट करता है जो कैरेक्टर है. एंड देन इट इज़ अ 7th novel of this very writer who is Kurt Vonnegut, right? So this is something that you have to remember. And then this is a mystery novel, वो भी आपको याद रखना है. एंड देन ये जो कौन सा वर्क का लाइन है, सो इट इज़ Slaughterhouse 5, right? Written by Kurt Vonnegut. Okay, next word. Gather here rosebuds while we may, right? So this is a work from line from which work? Is it to his coy mistress? Is it to the virgins to make much of time? Is it canonization, or is it Dover Beach? So this is a famous line from to the virgin to make much of time, right? And it is written by Robert Herrick, and he was one of a metaphysical poet. Okay, next question. I have measured out my life with coffee spoon, right? So this is a famous quote from which work? The Wasteland, The Frou Frog, Song of Myself, or Dover Beach, right? So this is a famous line from Frou Frog. The full title is Love Song of J. Alfred Frou Frog, and then it is a dramatic monologue It is written by T.S. Eliot, and then it was published in 1915. And then it is a anti-love song. You have to remember title सुन के आपको गलत misunderstand नहीं करना है. It's an anti-love song. Okay, next question. Okay, next question says, fear no more the heat or the sun, right? So it appears in which work? So is it Cymbeline, is it Macbeth, is it Hamlet, or is it Othello? So this is a famous line from the play Cymbeline, right? So Cymbeline is also called Tragedy of Cymbeline. So he was a king of Britain. He was a king of Britain, and then it talks about the tragic life of the king Cymbeline, right? सो ये शेक्सपियर का सम ऑफ द लास्ट प्लेज में आता है जो सिम्बलिन है ना. यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दैट. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Do not go gentle into that good night is a poem by. So we have just spoken about it. So it's a famous poem written by Dylan Thomas, right? So okay, this is the way the world ends, not a bang but a whimper, right? So I would like to quote the full sentence here. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends, not a bang but a whimper, right? So this is a famous line taken from T.S. Eliot's work. So is it the Hollow Man? Is it the Wasteland? Is it the Frou Frog? Or is it the Ulysses, right? So it's a famous line taken from द होलो मैन. तो आपको ये याद रखना है, ठीक है, बिकॉज दिस इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड इट वॉज पब्लिश इन 1925. And then what does the poem talks about? It talks about life, it talks about death and spiritual emptiness, you know, the barren soul. It talks about that. So it's a typical modern poem, I would say, you know, जिसमें the poem is fragmented. It talks about the artificiality of the modern world, right? So Wasteland is also a poem by Eliot. It was published in 1922. Frou Frog 1915. And then Ulysses is a work written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, right? And it was published in which year? You have to browse it because I'm not able to recall it, but I think it was around 1848 or 1842. I'm not sure because I'm not using any Google right now. I'm not using any resources. I don't have any material as of now with me. So I have I'm a little bit confused about the date, but आपको इसको browse करना है and then you have to keep in your mind, okay? Okay, next word. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. So this is something which is very like it's very easy, I would say, no, because this is something which we have been studying from the graduation days. So it's a famous line of Endymion written by John Keats, right? तो Ode to Grecian Urn नहीं है, Tintin Abbey भी नहीं है, To Autumn भी नहीं है. It's a Endymion, okay? Okay, next. Hope is a thing with feathers, right? So this is a famous line quoted by which writer? So is it Emily Dickinson? Is it Sylvia Plath? Is it Robert Frost? Or is it Anne Bradstreet? So it's a famous poem by Emily Dickinson, okay? Okay, so next question says all animals are equal but some animals are more equal than others. तो यहाँ पे तो ऑप्शन से ही आप पता चल जाएगा ये is it from Brave New World, is it from Animal Farm, is it from 1984, or is it from the Lord of the Flies? So it's a famous line from the very famous work of George Orwell, which was Animal Farm. So it's written by George Orwell, and then it's a allegory. Now what is allegory? So allegory is a kind of work where you give a moral lesson with the help of animal characters, so usko hum log allegorical work bolte hain. And then Brave New World is a work written by Huxley, and then 1984 is written by George Orwell, and Lord of the Flies is a work by William Golding, राइट तो ये सब एक मॉडर्न वर्क्स है, आपको देखना है. लॉर्ड ऑफ द फ्लाइज 1984, ब्रेव न्यू वर्ल्ड, एनिमल फार्म, दीज आर समथिंग विच यू कैन स्किप इट, नो. ओके, लेट्स स्किप टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. आई सेलिब्रेट माई सेल्फ एंड सिंग माई सेल्फ इज़ फ्रॉम. सो ये कौन सा वर्क का लाइन से लिया, कौन सा वर्क का से ये लाइन को लिया गया, राइट? सो Is it Song of Myself? Is it Frou Frog? Is it Daffodils? Or is it Dauber Beach? So it's a famous line from the work Song of Myself. It is written by Walt Whitman. Okay. ओके टू स्ट्राइव टू सीक टू फाइंड एंड नॉट टू यल इज़ फ्रॉम सो ये एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन है एंड देन ये इसका वर्क भी काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, आपको इसको देखना पड़ेगा. सो इज़ इट यूलिसिस, इज़ इट ऑटो ऑटम, इज़ इट डॉबर बीच और इज़ इट फ्रू फ्रॉग. सो दिस इज़ अ फेमस लाइन फ्रॉम Ulysses, right? And it is written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Okay. Okay, next question. Once upon a midnight dairy, while I pondered, weak and weary, is from. Is it from the Raven? Is it from the tiger? Is it from Kubla Khan? Or is it from Song of Myself? Right? So, it is a line taken from the work The Raven. Raven, and it is written by Edgar Allan Poe. Right? And he is also called father of detective novel, right? So what does he talks about in this work? He is mourning about his loved one, you know, he has lost someone in this work and then he is mourning about that very person, right? Okay, so next question says stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone is from. राइट तो ये जो कौन सा राइटर का वर्क है, इज़ इट W.H. Auden, इज इट सिल्विया प्लैट, इज इट डायलन थॉमस और इज इट T.S. Eliot. सो दिस इज़ अ फेमस लाइन टेकन फ्रॉम W.H. Auden's वर्क जिसका नाम ही है ऑल द स्टॉप्स कट ऑफ द टेलीफोन. एंड देन what do you have to remember about W.H. Auden? So he is a war poet, राइट. तो आपको ये याद रखना है. एंड देन ये इसका एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क है ऑल द स्टॉप्स कट ऑफ द टेलीफोन, राइट. सो दिस यू हैव टू कीप इन योर माइंड. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओ वाइल्ड वेस्ट विंड डाउ ब्रेड ऑफ ऑटम्स बीइंग इज फ्रॉम. सो आपको यहाँ से पता चल जाएगा कि कौन सा वर्क का है. इट इज़ टेकन फ्रॉम ओ टू द वेस्ट विंड एंड इट इज़ रिटन बाय P.B. Shelley, right? Daffodils is written by William Wordsworth. Tintin Ever is written by William Wordsworth. Ode to Autumn is a work by John Keats, right? Okay, next work. Had we but world enough had time is a line by. So देखिए एक चीज़ है कि ये क्वेश्चन आपका हर एग्ज़ाम में बार बार रिपीटेडली आस्क करता है. इवन दो ये बहुत ही रिपीटेड क्वेश्चन है एंड देन everybody is aware of this very question, but this question is something which is asked very frequently, you know. So this is a famous work taken from To His Coy Mistress, right? and then आपको मैं बता भी दूँ ये एक मेटाफिजिकल पोइट है. तो कौन है? इज़ इट एंड्रयू मार्बल, इज़ इट जॉन डन, इज़ इट ब्राउनिंग और इज़ इट बेन जॉनसन? तो ब्राउनिंग एंड बेन जॉनसन तो वो हो ही नहीं सकता है. सो ये दोनों में से कौन है? इट इज़ एंड्रयू मार्बल, राइट. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन सेज Rage, rage against the dying of the light is written by, right? So we have spoken about this very person. It is Dylan Thomas. It is not Frost, it is not Eliot, it is not Auden. It is by Dylan Thomas. Okay, next question. Tiger, tiger burning bright is written by. So it's a famous work of none other than William Blake. It was not by Keats, it was not by Shelley, it was not by Wordsworth, but it is by William Blake. Okay. Okay, next question. Miles to go before I sleep. Okay, I would like to quote the full quotation here because this is one of my favorites. The woods are deep, lovely and dark, but I have certain promises to keep. Miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep, right? So this is a famous quote quoted by Robert Frost. So Stopping by Woods, The Road Not Taken and The Fire of Eyes is a work by Robert Frost. The Raven is a work by Edgar Allan Poe. So this is a famous line taken from Stopping by Woods. Okay, next question. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Okay, next question says Speak what you think today in words as hard as cannonballs, right? So ये किसका वर्क से लिया गया है? ये जो है आपका ऐसे है द सेल्फ रिलायंस. सो इट इज़ रिटन बाय वॉल्ट विटमैन एंड देन ये वर्ड्स, ये लाइन जो है यही वर्ड से लिया गया है. ओके. Okay, next question. Tell me note in mournful numbers. Life is but an empty dream is written by. Right? So ये lines लिया गया है, सबसे पहले मैं बता दूँ, from the work Islam of life. Right? So ये work से लिया गया है ये line को, and this is a famous work by uh, let us see the option first. Is it Edgar Allan Poe, is it Robert Frost, or is it Walt Whitman, or is it Henry Longfellow? Right? So this is a work by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and he has written this work Islam of life, where this line occurs. No, you have to remember that in mind. And then what do we know about Henry Wadsworth Longfellow? So first of all, he was American. Okay, let me change the pen, give me a second. Okay, he was an American writer सबसे पहले तो, and then he was the first person from American writers to translate Dante's, okay, let me write here, Dante's Divine Comedy. I'm not saying he was the first person to translate it, but he was the first American to translate Dante's Divine Comedy. Okay. Okay, next question. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure-dome decree? So is it from Kubla Khan? Is it from the tiger? Is it from Ulysses? Or is it from the Raven? So यहाँ पे आपको देख ही रहे Kubla Khan. So it is taken from Kubla Khan, and it is written by S.T. Coleridge, right? And it has total 54 lines. Give me a second. It has total 54 lines, and what is the title of the poem? The title of the poem, the subtitle of the poem is A Vision of Dream. Right? Next question. Okay, the next question says, one shed the more, one ray the less. Right? So this is a famous line taken from which writer's work? So is it Lord Byron, is it Shelley, is it Keats, or is it Wordsworth? So this is a famous line taken from Lord Byron's work. She walks in beauty. So the entire theme of the poem talks about, or it glorifies the beauty of a woman, right? So it does revolves around the beauty, the perfection of woman's beauty, right? Okay, next question. The best lack all conviction, where the words are full of passionate intensity, is from. So this is a famous line from which work? Is it The Second Coming? Is it The Hollow Man? Is it The Wasteland? Or is it Dover Beach, right? So this is a famous line taken from The Second Coming, and it is written by Yeats, William Butler Yeats, right? And he was a Irish poet. He was also a founder of Abbey Theatre, and he has contributed so many works, right? And then Second Coming was published in the year 1920, and it has the backdrop of World War I, right? So these are the points that you have to remember. Next poem, I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul, is from. So is it Invictus, is it Ulysses, is it Song of Myself, or is it Dover Beach, right? So this is a line taken from Invictus, right? And Invictus is a work written by William Ernest Henley. William Ernest Henley, right? And he was a Victorian poet, right? So what do you have to remember about this person, William Ernest Henley? So he was a Victorian poet, and he has contributed so many important works, and out of which Invictus is very important, and Okay, so what do you? I'm so sorry, my mic was not just working properly. So let me repeat the question again. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Is from. So it is from the work Invictus, and it is written by William Ernest. Okay, the next question says, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Right. So is it from Ode to West Wind? Is it from Ode to Autumn? Is it from Daffodils? Is it from Ulysses? So this is a famous line taken from Ode to Autumn, written by John Keats, right? So this is a very famous line. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? Because in this ode आपको क्या मिलेगा? The poet is glorifying the season of autumn. क्योंकि usually क्या होता है कि जो पतझड़ का जो महीना होता है, like when we speak about autumn, we usually don't glorify it because we are more towards glorifying the season spring, right? But in this poem, the poet is glorifying that, you know, autumn is this, autumn is that. So he is in fact neglecting the spring season, and then he is more towards favoring the autumn, right? So इसीलिए इसको बोलता है कि if winter comes, can spring be far behind, right? Okay, next question. It says, not marble, not a gilded monuments is a sonnet by. Is it by Shakespeare? Is it by Milton? Is it by Wordsworth? Or is it by Blake? So this is a famous line taken from Shakespeare's sonnet, and then the sonnet number is 55. So out of 154 sonnet, you have to remember few sonnets जिसमें important themes contain करता है. For example, sonnet number 18, sonnet number 126, sonnet number 55. So these are the sonnets that you have to keep in your mind before sitting for your exam, because because why is it not, it's not possible to combat all the sonnet, but there are few sonnet which you have to do in detail, right? So what does he talks about in this sonnet? So in the sonnet number 55, he talks about the he glorifies the poetry. He says this poetry is something that lives forever, but when we talks about monuments, it is temporary. It is like, it is not something that lives forever. It does not stays in the heart forever. It is something which is very temporary. Today you built it and कल वो destroy हो सकता है. But poetry is something जो एकदम बहुत साल तक रह जाता है, बहुत सारा years, centuries तक रह जाता है, right? So in this sonnet, he glorifies the importance of poetry. Okay. Okay, next question. Okay, the mind is its own place, right? So this is a famous line taken from which work? Is it from Paradise Lost? Is it from The Wasteland? Is it from Hamlet? Or is it from Kubla Khan? So this is a famous line taken from Paradise Lost. तो इसमें क्या बोलते हैं कि the mind is its own place. It can mail hell out of the heaven and heaven out of hell, right? So this is a famous line written by John Milton. And then you have to remember, Paradise Lost is an epic poem. It has 12 parts, and then it was published in 1667. इसमें 1 से लेके 10 बुक पब्लिश हुआ था, एंड देन 1672 में पूरा 12 किताब जो पब्लिश हुआ था. आपको ये याद रखना है. एंड देन यू हैव टू रिमेंबर, ये जो है बाइबल से लिया गया है, पैराडाइज लॉस्ट. सो दीज आर द पॉइंट्स दैट यू हैव टू कीप इन योर माइंड. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज वी रियल कूल वी लैब स्कूल इज़ फ्रॉम. सो आप यहाँ पे ऑप्शंस नहीं देख के ही आपको पता चल रहा है कि ये इसी वर्क से लिया होगा, बिकॉज ये सॉन्ग ऑफ माई सेल्फ से तो नहीं हो सकता है, हार्लेम से भी नहीं हो सकता है, रावेन से भी नहीं हो सकता है. सो ये क्या से लिया गया है? फ्रॉम द पोम वी रियल कूल, राइट? सो व्हाट डज इट टॉक्स अबाउट? So it talks about okay, first of all, this is a work written by whom? So this is a work written by this is a work written by Gwendolyn Brooks. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly, but it's Gwendolyn, Gwendolyn Brooks, right? Brooks. So this is a work by him, and he has published this work on 1959. So it's a modern era work. And then what does a theme talks about? What does a poem talks about? It talks about youth, it talks about rebellion, it talks about living reckless life, no? Because when we are young, we tend to live a reckless life. So this poem talks about that, So you have to remember, We Real Cool is a work written by Gwendolyn Brooks. It was published in 1959. Okay, next question. Okay, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. This is a famous quote by. Is it by Mahatma Gandhi? Is it by Swami Vivekanand? Is it by Ravindranath Tagore? Or is it by Aurobindo Ghosh? Right. So this is a famous line quoted by Swami Vivekanand. Okay, next is Where the Mind is Without Fear is a line by. Is it by Sarojini Naidu? Is it by Aurobindo Ghosh? Is it by Ravindranath Tagore? Or is it by R.K. Narayan? So this is a famous line quoted by Ravindranath Tagore, right? Okay, next question. Okay, the character Swami appears in. So Swami is a character. Does it appears in Kantapura, Malgudi Days, Gitanjali, or Untouchable? So of course, this is a famous character created by R.K. Narayan, and then you can see this character in the work Malgudi Days, right? Okay, speak up because your lips are not sealed. So see, this is something debatable because ये जो line है, this is spoken by a Pakistani writer whose name is Faiz Ahmad. Faiz. So he's a Pakistani writer. So he has quoted this line, speak up because your lips are not sealed. So I don't know whether this is a line quoted by Mahadevi Verma, Amrita Pritam, Kamla Das, or Torudat, because this is something, this is debatable. So I leave this question to you. It is up to you, आप किसको मानना है, but as per me, मेरे को लगता है कि ये जो लाइन है, दिस वॉज कोटेड बाय फैज़ अहमद फैज़, राइट. बट ये क्वेश्चन आप लोग एक बार खुद से भी रीड कर लीजिएगा, बिकॉज मेरे को थोड़ा सा डाउट है यहाँ पे. बट इफ़ यू आस्क मी, दिस इज़ अ लाइन कोटेड बाय फैज़ अहमद फैज़, राइट. Okay, next, their character Bhakha appears in. So is it in Untouchable, is it in Coolie, is it in Guide, or is it in Train to Pakistan, right? So Bhakha is a character that you will find in Untouchable, right? So Bhakha is a character. This is a work written by Mulk Raj Anand. Mulk Raj. He is also called Charles Dickens of India, and then he was a novelist of characters, because उसका जो भी characters create करता है, it is so remarkable that he is also called novelist of characters, right? Okay, next question. It is a assertion and reason based question, right? So assertion and reason based question में क्या होना है कि what you have to remember is assertion जो reason से मिल रहा है कि नहीं, right? So आपको पहले क्या करना है, assertion को पढ़ना है, and then you have to tell कि वो उससे मिलता है कि नहीं, right? So let's see the question. Okay, it says Ozymandias explores the impermanence of power. This is your assertion, and reason says the shattered statue symbolizes fading glory. Okay, सबसे पहले तो Ozymandias, right? So Ozymandias is a sonnet. It is written by P.B. Shelley, and then it talks about the lost glory of a powerful king, right? So of course यहाँ पे क्या बोल रहे हैं कि it explore the impermanence of power. Yes, it's true, because यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि जो यहाँ का king होता है उसका impermanence of power के बारे में ही explore करता है, right? And reason says the shattered statue symbolizes fading glory. This is also true, because उसका जो king का जो statue होता है, it was destroyed, and then वहाँ पे लिखते हैं कि here lies the Ozymandias who used to rule these years ago. So it talks about power is something which is very impermanent, and then you can lose your glory just in a fraction of time, right? So this is both assertion and reason is true. For that reason आपका आंसर हो जाएगा A and R are true. R explains A. So this is your answer, right? Okay, next. Daffodils reflect joy in nature. Wordsworth finds peace in remembering the flowers, right? So Daffodils is a poem written by William Wordsworth. he has dedicated this poem to Dorothy Wordsworth, who happens to be Wordsworth's sister. And then it talks about, and it reflects the joy in nature. So this is true. Wordsworth find peace in remembering the flowers, right? So this is also true. So आपका आंसर हो जाएगा A and R are true, and R explains A, right? Okay, next question. Song of Myself is celebrating of individuality. Whitman uses free verse to express personal and democratic ideas. So see, Song of Myself is a work written by Walt Whitman, and then in this work, he celebrates the individuality. He believes in self-reliance, right? क्योंकि उसका पूरा work is based on self-reliance, individuality, how individual is enough. You don't have to be dependent, you don't have to be dependent upon the society to be happy. So it celebrates the individuality, right? And then Walt Whitman is also called the father of free verse. So of course the work is written in free verse. So your answer is A. Right? Okay, next, The Wasteland is a modernist poem. It reflects fragmentation and cultural disillusionment, right? Disillusionment. Okay, The Wasteland is a poem written by T.S. Eliot. It was published in 1922, and then it is divided into 5 parts that you have to remember. And then it is a modernist poem. This is true. It reflects फ्रेगमेंटेशन. फ्रेगमेंटेशन का मतलब वो है कि ये पूरा टूटा हुआ है. ऐसा नहीं है कि इट इज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट एन इंडिविजुअल एंड देन वो पूरा उसी के बारे में बात कर रहा है. इट इज़ फ्रेगमेंटेड इन नेचर. एंड देन ये सोशल डिसइल्यूजमेंट के बारे में भी बात करता है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे वो जो क्या डिपिक्ट करता है कि हाउ कल्चर इज़ internally it's barren, it is soulless, it is waste, it is how artificial it is. So it does talks about cultural disillusionment. So your answer has to be A and R are true, and R explains A, right? Okay, next question. Assertion, do not go gentle into the good night, is a villanelle, right? So what is villanelle? So villanelle kya hota hai? It is a pastoral, or it is a lyric poem, and then the rhyme or the sentence is repeated, बार बार ये repetition होता है. So the reason says Dylan Thomas uses repetition and strict rhyme. See, the both statements are true, so it has to be A and R are true, and R explains A, right? So see, Dylan Thomas का ये जो work है, ये आपको जानना है, because this is very important, yet this is one of the most ignored topic, I would say. So villanelle आपको जानना है. villanelle का मतलब होता है कि it is a pastoral or a lyric poem, because exam में they might change the language, and then when they say villanelle, sorry, so हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि we get confused. So आपको याद रहना है कि it is a pastoral or it is a lyric poem, right? And then in this work, this Thomas has repeated and he has used the strict rhymes. So ये आपका सही हो जाएगा, right? So this is it for today's video. Thank you for watching my video till the end.